Hello, today we're going to be looking at replacing a lower ball joint on a 2007 Dodge Caliber. This particular Caliber has some terrible drivability problems. When you get past about 55 miles an hour, it becomes violently uncontrollable. And so I just jacked up the car and gave the tires a shake. And this one had way too much play in it. I'll just move it side to side. And you can see it popping out of the ball joint there. Not sure how good that shows up in the video. That should be completely solid in this tire. You shouldn't be able to move it. And I'm able to move it probably almost an inch at the outside rim of the tire. And to do this procedure, we're just going to need a simple rental tool. You can get a ball joint puller tool as a rental from an auto parts store. This is a procedure that really helps to have a impact gun to drive the end of the wheel bearing puller. So I'll definitely advise you of that up front, depending on what kind of lower ball joint you have, how old it is, how long it's been in there. They can be extremely difficult to remove. So this is not a good first project probably. The procedure itself is very simple. You just really kind of need to have an impact for this one, unfortunately. Though I'm sure you can do it with a cheater bar and a breaker bar and a couple extra sets of hands. It's definitely a procedure where you can save a ton of money. All we're going to need to do really is remove the wheel, and then remove the lower control arm that the ball joint mounts into. Press out the old one, press in the new one, and that's pretty much it. And this is a part that costs 15 bucks, but to take this to a shop, I mean, it could easily be several $100s, at least 10 times the cost of the part, certainly. And it's just really not that hard of a procedure if you've got the right tools, an impact, and tool rental, or just a lot of elbow grease and an extra couple sets of hands. So let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to remove this wheel. And we've got that wheel removed, and this is going to vary a good bit from vehicle to vehicle, but for this particular vehicle, it's very easy to remove the lower control arm. We're going to be able to just remove this bolt here, and then this one down here where the ball joint is secured. Just those 3 points. And some applications, the control arm might have a few more fasteners, or it might be unsafe to just remove the lower control arm like that if there's a lot of pressure on the strut or something like that, if it's been lowered. But this particular application is very easy. The first one we're going to tackle here is this one, which is going to be rather difficult. And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to use a ball joint separator tool, sometimes called a pickle fork. We're going to remove this bolt right here, that nut that secures it. And then we've got a pickle fork, and you just stick it in there and then pound the back to force this wedge in between the lower ball joint and the knuckle. And since this ball joint is in such bad condition, there's way too much play in it. It's actually probably going to take quite a bit of prying to get it loose. You know, it's always a good idea to spray some PB Blast or liquid wrench in there, whack it a few times with a sledgehammer. But you want to have those rear two mounts in place so you've got something to leverage against while you're getting the pickle fork in there. And we've got that bolt in the knuckle removed, and now we're just going to take our ball joint separator tool here, just wedge it in there. And just pound it in. You can see we've got some play there now. Alright, we've got that lower control arm removed after some prying and trying on that ball joint. And now I've got my ball joint remover tool all assembled, this whole jig. And the way this works is there's obviously the C-clamp here that's going to give us the leverage to press that ball joint out. We've got our lower disc here that fits into these collars, and there's collars that are different sizes here, and you just match it up to one that's just slightly larger than your ball joint, so it gives you some leverage around it that it can go through. Then the control arm, and then the ball joint. Then there's this disc on the top that has a hole that the top part of the ball joint can plug into, and that disc plugs into the plunger on the vise here. And at the very top I've got my my impact gun, and you definitely need quite a bit of leverage for this. I imagine it can be done with a breaker bar and a cheater bar, though I would definitely recommend the beefiest impact you can get. Depending on the joint, it can take quite a bit of force to get out. And then also be sure to check for any spot welds or snap rings or anything that might be still securing your ball joint to the control arm. Sometimes they have extra measures to secure the ball joint, though typically it's just a press in. So we're just going to crank on this, and it's going to press the ball joint down and out of the control arm. Oh, and it's always a good idea to lubricate the threads before you crank on it, so those threads are as low resistance as possible. I just put some WD-40 on it. Some grease would probably be better, but that should work fine. So let's hit it with the impact. Alright, we still got a little bit further to go here. My compressor kicked on, so I'll wait for it to catch up, and then we'll hit it again. And right at the end, it definitely is going to slow down a lot. It'll seem like it's not going anywhere, but just keep pressing, and you will get it. And here's the old ball joint pressed out, and as you can see, it's just a press fitting there that holds it in. The new ball joint is going to press in from the top, so you're actually going to use the exact same setup that you used to press out the old one. I think they're that way on purpose, so you don't have to go two different directions. There's a grease fitting that comes with the new one that just plugs into the bottom, and you want to use a grease gun to grease that up once that's installed. And then a snap ring that's going to snap around it to secure it in place. It won't be quite as strong on its own as the factory fitting, so there's an extra snap ring there for safety. And for that, I would strongly recommend using a pair of snap ring pliers. Certainly a case where having the right tool can save you a lot of time and frustration versus trying to use a pair of needle nose pliers or something like that. And then we also have a replacement nut and bolt for the knuckle to hold the ball joint in. But we're just going to press in the new fitting, the new ball joint pretty much the exact same way we removed the old one, with that same stack of components, and then reinstall the lower control arm. So that's pretty much all there is to it. As you can see, the procedure itself is not very long or complicated, but it certainly requires having the right set of tools, this specialty tool rental, an impact gun, I guess a snap ring pliers, and a grease gun. So a fair number of specialized tools that some people may not have, but certainly all these tools can be purchased or rented for well under the cost of having it done at a shop. This is something that can be very expensive at a shop to have it done there, and just depending on how complex it is to get that lower control arm out, it can be a very extremely quick and easy procedure to do yourself. So that's all there is to this. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on the video, and I'll do my best to try to help. Thanks!